don't ever expect an avoidant to come back unless you do this one thing. Before you see two runners. We have runner A, which is Chris, and runner B, which is Christophe. Now, each of these runners want their avoidant to come back, but they each have a different strategy on how they're going to get there. Now, runner A has what I like to call procedural framework learning. Think of this like runner A is learning through action and experience, where you adapt based on real-world feedback. Think of it also like kind of riding a bike. Runner B, on the other hand, has what I like to call a declarative learning approach. This is like memorizing a set of facts or rules without truly internalizing them, knowing what to do in theory, but lacking the ability to adapt in real time. Also like reading a book on how to ride a bike, but never actually getting on one and riding the actual bike. Okay. So let's watch what happens when the race begins to get their avoidant back for each runner. Runner A takes off, relying on pure action and instinct. They try no contact, then break it too soon. They act distant, then slip back into chasing. Each mistake teaches them something, but without a clear strategy, their efforts are scattered. At first, they see small wins, a breadcrumb text, a brief moment of hope, but their avoidant keeps pulling away. Without understanding the deeper psychology at play, they keep misstepping. Eventually, they burn out, realizing they've been running in circles instead of making real progress. Okay, so clearly that didn't work. Maybe runner B will have a different outcome. Runner B starts confidently, armed with all the right knowledge. They've read about avoidance, studied no contact strategy, and knows exactly what they should do. But when the race begins, theory meets reality. They hesitate when action is needed, overthink every move, second-guess themselves. When their avoidant reaches out, they freeze, unsure of whether they should respond or stay silent. When emotions rise, their logical plan crumbles and they react impulsively, undoing all of their careful preparation. Despite knowing all the right steps, they struggle to execute them in real time. Knowledge alone isn't enough. Like runner A, they eventually fail, proving that neither action without understanding nor understanding without action will get the avoidant back. Okay, so that didn't work either. What is missing here? Well, recently I filmed a video where I studied 100 avoidants that came back after a breakup. My goal was simple. I wanted to look at what people did to attract them back. And honestly, it wasn't anything I hadn't known before. It was simple stuff like they let go, they set boundaries, they weren't overly available. But then I started to shift my paradigm. I had all these people who had won their avoidance back. I'm sitting here looking at what they did right. But on the flip side, I also had all these other people who did not win their avoidance back. So I decided to look at what they did wrong. And that's when it all started to click for me. The big thing that I noticed is that the people who failed were essentially running the two races I just showed you. The people who didn't fail, well, they approached the race like runner C here. Okay, here's what makes runner C special. Runner C is different because they don't rely solely on knowledge or action. They blend both. They study the principles, internalize them, and then put them into practice, adjusting as needed. So instead of blindly following a script like runner B or rushing ahead without structure like runner A, they recognize patterns, they trust the process, and course correct in real time. When emotions flare, they don't react impulsively. When an avoidant pulls away, they don't chase or freeze. They respond with confidence and control. Runner C isn't just running the race. They're adapting to the terrain, making them the only one with a real shot at crossing the finish line. And that's exactly what happens. This is the secret no one ever tells you about. It's not enough to know what to do. You have to live it, adapt to it, and embody it in real time. Knowledge without action is useless, and action without understanding is reckless. The real key is mastering both. So the other day, I'm scrolling through my community and I stumble across this post from one of our members. After 2 months of going on dates, I felt a bit more at ease. He asked me to be his girlfriend. So here's to a new relationship. Now, a lot of times when I'm doing an ad like this for the Seiter Super Offer, I'm only showing you the happy end result. Oh hey, look, this person got their avoidant back. Oh wow, this person is now engaged. Oh, now this person is married. And if that's all you saw, you'd probably think that this was easy. But here's the truth. It's not. Making an avoidant regret losing you or even getting over an avoidant takes real work. What you don't see behind these success stories are the late nights spent going through the course library and actually applying the strategies, the breakthroughs that happens when members partner with battle buddies for accountability and support, the live streams where they ask tough questions and get real answers. This isn't about luck. It's about having the right tools. That's why I built the Seiter Super Offer. Right now, for YouTube viewers only, I'm giving you everything you need to get results like this. My complete course library, a private community, weekly live streams. Now, normally I sell all of these things separately, but today you get everything at 50% off. That's a one-time payment of $97. No monthly fees, no hidden costs, just everything you need to make your avoidant regret losing you and reignite their obsession. So, if you're interested, click in the link on the description below and start your transformation today. So what actually works to get an avoidant back? Well, earlier in this video, I made a bit of a throwaway comment about how I filmed this other video where I looked at 100 success stories and started listening to all the qualities that work to win an avoidant back. Well, that throwaway comment might actually be a little bit more important than I let on. For reference, here's a full list of what I learned. You need to achieve genuine emotional detachment, rebuild the aspects they fell for originally, keep your cool during reach outs, make them wait before serious talks, and the procedural and declarative framework. Now, here's my problem. I've spent just like 10 minutes now rambling about how it's not enough to know this stuff. You also have to live it. Let's take the first thing I said as an example. Achieve genuine emotional detachment and then your avoidant will come back. It sounds nice, but the reality is me sitting here and telling you to achieve it doesn't actually help you at all. The equivalent is literally the same as if you are having a panic attack and I sit there and tell you to calm down. When you're gasping for air, unable to breathe, the number one question on your mind is how? How do I calm down? And that's the problem that I have with YouTube videos in the self-help space. Every video is going to give you the correct advice, but they don't give you the actionable steps to get there. The same is true with this declarative versus procedural learning frameworks that I've been talking about. Now, I literally just told you that the skill you need to master if you want an avoidant to come back is figuring out how to combine the two. It's not the super sexy text that you're supposed to send. It's not the perfect no contact strategy you think will suddenly make them miss you. It's not even the mind games you hope will trigger their attachment wounds. It's how you learn. Most people have no problem with declarative learning. It's the easiest type of learning. You crack open a book, you read about an avoidant attachment, you watch a few YouTube videos, and boom, you understand the concepts. But understanding something and applying it in the heat of the moment are two completely different things. Procedural learning, well, that's where people struggle. It's the kind of learning that only happens through doing, through trial, error, and real-world experience. It's one thing to know that emotional detachment is key, but can you actually feel detached when your avoidant breadcrumb texts you after weeks of silence? Can you resist the urge to over-explain when they reach out with something vague? That's the gap that most people never bridge. They know what to do, but when emotions take over, they default back to old patterns, and that's why they fail. So here's the framework I think everyone should follow if they want to see success with not just avoidance, but pretty much every problem they face in life. It's called ACE. Absorb, condition, and embody. So step one is super simple. This is known as the absorb phase, or as I've been going on and on about in the video, the declarative learning phase. This is all about knowing the rules, learning the principles, theories, and strategies, understanding why things work, not just what to do. I've already shown you what that example is when I showed you what I found actually worked to successfully get avoidance back. Genuinely emotionally detached, rebuild aspects that they fell for originally, keep your cool during reach outs, make them wait before serious talks. Learning all of that stuff is important, but it won't allow you to ace the test. Wink, wink. For that, you kind of need to go to step two, the condition phase. So this is where procedural learning comes into play. Essentially, you're going to practice in low-stakes scenarios. Put what you've learned into practice in very small ways. Train your brain to respond differently through repetition and exposure. You practice emotional detachment in friendships before applying it with an avoidant. Not the greatest example, but it's all I could come up with. Let's move on to step 3, the execute phase. This is all about iterative learning, fine-tuned basing on real-world feedback. You take real action, you analyze the results, and you tweak your approach. You learn from mistakes instead of repeating them. You notice that giving your avoidant too much space makes them assume you've moved on. You adjust your approach slightly. Pretty self-explanatory. There is one more step, though, what I like to call the hidden E. Step 4 is embody, what I like to also call integrated learning. Essentially, you're making everything you've practiced second nature. At this stage, you no longer apply techniques, you are the techniques. You respond the right way naturally without overthinking. Your avoidant reaches out, and instead of forcing yourself to stay cool, you genuinely don't feel the need to chase. This is Emma. Emma's been through this before. The breakup, the gut-wrenching silence, the obsessive thoughts about whether Jake, her avoidant ex, would ever come back. But this time, she was doing things a little differently. She wasn't going to run blind like runner A or overthink herself into paralysis like runner B. She was going to ace this. So, she starts with step 1, absorb, knowing the rules. In the first few weeks after the breakup, Emma buries herself in learning. She reads books on attachment theory. She watches videos. She studies what actually makes avoidance return. The answer was clear. Desperation would drive Jake further away, but emotional detachment, confidence, and genuine self-focus would draw him back. She had to let go. Not as a tactic, but for real. Still, knowing this didn't make it easy. Late at night, when she's scrolling through old messages, her instinct was to reach out, to remind him of what they had. But she catches herself. She reminds herself why she was doing this. Chasing will push him away. Attraction isn't built through words, but through energy. Instead of texting, she journals. Instead of refreshing her social media, she goes for a run. It was just knowledge right now, but soon she's going to turn it into action. And that's where step 2, the condition phase, comes into play. She starts practicing in low-stakes situations. Now, Emma knows that she can't really jump straight into applying this with Jake. She'd totally crack under the pressure. So she starts small. She practices by setting boundaries in everyday life. When a friend was late to meet her, instead of brushing it off like she always did, she casually says, "Hey, next time, shoot me a quick text if you're running behind." No emotion, no guilt, just a normal, secure response. She also stops being too available. She let calls go to voicemail instead of picking up instantly. She spaces out her responses in conversations instead of rapid-firing replies. It's not about playing games. It's about training her nervous system to be okay with space. And when an old friend from college reaches out to catch up, she agrees. Something she would never have done before because she was always so wrapped up in Jake. Little by little, she's rewiring herself. All right, step 3, of course, is the execute phase. This is the real-world applications of this. The moment has come. After weeks of silence, Jake texts her, "Hey, hope you're doing good." Her stomach flips. Old Emma would have overanalyzed the message, crafted the perfect response, and sent it within 5 minutes. But new Emma, well, she takes her time. She waits a few hours, letting herself process before reacting. And when she responds, it's light and warm, but not overly invested. "Hey, been good. Hope you have too." That was it. No fishing for more, no asking why he was texting, no passive-aggressive, "Oh, now you care" comment. She matches his energy, neutral and confident. Jake responds quickly, but instead of jumping into a deep conversation, Emma lets him work for it. She didn't drop everything to engage. Instead, she just went back to what she was doing, focusing on her own life. And that leads her to step 4, the embody phase. This is all about becoming the person who just naturally wins. Over the next few weeks, something has shifted. Jake kept reaching out, at first just casually, then more frequently, and eventually he starts bringing up memories, mentioning how things felt different with her. Here's the thing. Emma wasn't pretending to be different. She was different. She no longer felt the need to over-explain or chase. She doesn't sit by her phone waiting for his messages. She's not faking detachment to get a reaction. She genuinely just moves forward. And that's what makes her attractive again. Because avoidants don't come back when you want them to. They come back when you don't need them to. So why did Emma succeed? Emma didn't win Jake back because she followed a script. She won because she mastered the ACE framework. She absorbs the truth about avoidance. She conditions herself by practicing detachment in small ways. And she executes when the moment came, staying calm and in control. And enough of this creates an embodied mindset, making it her natural way of being. And that's why she didn't end up like runners A or B. She didn't just know what to do. She lived it. There is one theory that I have that I feel is worth mentioning. I believe the ACE framework is so hard for people because school conditions us from a young age to learn declaratively, which actually is probably why the ACE framework feels so unnatural at first. I mean, think about it. You learn math by memorizing formulas, but no one teaches you how to apply them to real-world financial decisions. You study history by reading facts in a textbook, but no one trains you on how to critically analyze patterns and apply them to modern-day issues. You take language classes and memorize vocabulary words, but when you try to hold a real conversation with a native speaker, you freeze up because you've never practiced speaking in a real-world setting. School rewards knowing, not doing. You can pass a test by cramming information the night before, but that doesn't mean you understand the material deeply enough to apply it in a high-pressure situation. And that's exactly why people struggle with avoidance. They know what they're supposed to do. Let go, set boundaries, don't chase. But when emotions hit, they default back to their old patterns because they've never trained themselves to handle the situation in real time. That's why the ACE framework is so powerful. It forces you to unlearn the passive way you were taught, to absorb information, and to actually put it into practice until it becomes second nature.